On the other hand, I can't think of anything more vile than what you tried to do to that man. People say Michigan versus Jennifer Lynn Plumhoff. Ms. Plumhoff is here for sentencing. Prosecution and defense. Was the pre-sentence investigation report finally made available to you?
It was, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Shepard, have you had the opportunity to read the report and discuss it with Ms. Plumhoff?
I have, as co-counsel, Mr. Swanson, we did meet with Ms. Plumhoff, and I did speak with her a couple of different times about it. We have no additions or corrections that I'm aware of, Judge.
All right. Is there anything that you want the court to consider?
Yeah, so I've read the recommendation. I think the recommendation is spot on, Judge. I think that it's considerate not only of the circumstances which led to this, but also of the person who is the byproduct of where we're at today. And talking to Jen, you know, I think I would appreciate the court looking at the person who made that decision in that moment. I think that's important. I think you always have to do that. But I also think it's important in this case to think of and consider the person who sits before you today. In that regard, I asked her, I said, you know, if you could do this over, you know, sometimes this is a dangerous question, but if you could do this over, would you do the same thing? And she says, well, I don't want to say that because it doesn't seem like I'm, you know, sorry about what I did. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't have done some of the things that I'm doing now. This recommendation, Judge, was littered with letters of support. I'm quite certain the court's had a chance to read and review those. I can tell you that in my dealings with Jen, I see a remorseful person. I see someone who has always taken responsibility from the sentencing forward. I think that that is indicative of this recommendation that is in this pre-sentence investigation report as well.
Buckle up, guys. Today we're going to open this hearing with the calm before the storm. The court calls the case, counsel confirms the PSI, and defense asks the judge to see the person behind the mistake. Listen for the soft but crucial lines about remorse, letters of support, and the request that probation be used as a chance to prove reform. This bit sets the emotional baseline, sympathy versus accountability, and frames every reaction that follows.
When this happened, Judge, this is a time in Jennifer's life when she wasn't proud of the decision she made. I think people do and say lots of things that they wish they had back in a breakup situation. I know that she's embarrassed. I know that it's affected her. But from accepting this plea agreement and speaking to this court, and beyond that, her conduct since then, I think speaks volumes about who she is going to become as a result of putting herself in a really tough situation. I know that she's been working on her mental health. I think that is evident. I also know that she's been on bond, has not had any other incidents that I'm aware of while she's been on bond. It's been quite some time since we've been back here, several months, in fact, Judge. So I would ask the court to consider the letters of recommendation. I think, again, the recommendation is appropriate. I would ask the court to follow that. And part of it, too, Judge, is that there's a rather lengthy term of probation, which the court's going to impose. And that is yet another opportunity for Jen to not just tell you who she is, but prove who she's become and that she isn't the person that at least in this incident, she appeared to be on paper. So I would ask that the court follow the recommendation. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Plumhoff, have you had the opportunity to read the report and discuss it with Mr. Shepard?
I have, Your Honor.
Do you have any additions, corrections, or challenges?
I do not.
Anything that you want to say on your own behalf?
Well, I would like to start by apologizing to Nicholas for the hurt and disruption that I caused in his life. I'm not proud of getting to a point where I would hurt somebody that I loved the way that I did him, for breaking our vows and ruining our marriage. I hurt a lot of people that day, that when I chose to.
Buckle up, guys. Today we are going to pause on a sharp procedural pivot. Defense reveals a recent medical diagnosis and asks the court to weigh treatment needs against incarceration. In less than a minute, the stakes change. Sympathetic facts enter the record, and counsel asks for mercy or tailored sentencing. This moment is short but pivotal. It forces the judge to consider health, community support, and whether punishment can be balanced with care.
And very sorry. I like he said, I'm not proud of what I did. I am proud of the person that I've become because of these things. Being able to turn my life around and turn to faith and get back on the right track. I've worked really, really hard through my therapy, my group therapy, with my church family, just being able to help the community more, things like that. I don't think that these are things that I would have been doing hadn't something like this happened. As awful as it may sound to say, I feel like me hitting rock bottom is something that needed to happen to become who I am. And I'm truly sorry for all of it.
I think Mr. Swanson had a couple of comments too.
Right?
Thank you. I've talked to Ms. Blumhoff quite a bit as well. She has been acknowledging her actions. She owned her actions from everything and every person I've talked to so far in reference to it. She owned it to this court as well. We've pointed to the court that Ms. Blumhoff, with her consent, she's given me the permission to tell the court that she now faces some pretty significant medical conditions that she's facing a treatment for potentially breast cancer at this point, and her next appointment is scheduled for October 28th, and she doesn't.
All right, guys, now we are in the legal tug of war where scoring and sentencing math matter. Prosecution challenges scoring, OV-19. Defense and Judge parse benchbook precedent, and the court ultimately denies the request to upscore. This exchange converts abstract law into real consequences. If the score held, jail could be longer. Use this clip to show the courtroom weighing rules, the judge's reasoning, and the first real legal blow to the defense's hopes.
I noticed we got the documentation from her doctor here today for court wanted that documentation as well. She did receive a lot of amazing recommendations from the community, so we asked the court to consider that when looking at sentencing here today.
All right, Ms. Robinson, any additions, corrections, or challenges?
Your Honor, people had OV-19 scored at 10 points. I believe that the conduct here would amount to interfering or attempting to interfere with the administration of justice. My understanding the case law does support that conduct can happen before criminal charges are issued as well. It's not like it has to be a fight afterwards. That is the only difference that I saw that I thought needed to be noted for the record.
All right, Mr. Shepherd, Mr. Swanson, want to reply to that?
Sure, Judge. I tend to agree with the scoring that was done by the Department of Corrections. I see that OV-19 was a 0. I think that's, I wouldn't know why that would change, Your Honor. I certainly understand the question or the context around the question. But from my perspective, I think that the scoring that is appended to the PSI and the recommendation, I think that's fine.
All right, well, I look something up on that. I would turn to you, Mr. Zero. See the recommendation in the report.
Buckle up, guys. Today we are going to center on the victim's statement, raw, personal, and heartbreaking. He explains how he rebuilt his life, how messages and weeks of malicious conduct threatened his recovery, and why one day, behind bars won't fix a pattern aimed to destroy his career and freedom. This is the emotional spine of the case. Credibility, the human cost, and why the victim asks the court for meaningful accountability.
All right, so the court is going to leave offense variable 19 scored at 0. zero, was looking at the criminal sentencing bench book, and although I do note that there are things that can happen pre-charge that could reflect the interference of justice, but I didn't find a case that reflected where essentially trying to frame someone for a crime would be impacting the ability of the police to investigate the situation. It's not tampering with witnesses. It's not the sort of pre-charge conduct according to see that other cases have scored 10 points at. So the court's going to deny that request.
Your Honor.
All right, so with that,
Your Honor, I apologize. Can I make a
well,
statement?
sorry.
Your Honor, we would ask that
Buckle up, guys. Today we are going to center on the victim's statement, raw, personal, and heartbreaking. He explains how he rebuilt his life, how messages and weeks of malicious conduct threatened his recovery, and why one day behind bars won't fix a pattern aimed to destroy his career and freedom. This is the emotional spine of the case. Credibility, the human cost, and why the victim asks the court for meaningful accountability.
right into the podium right there.
Or Nicholas Plummer, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now's your opportunity, sir.
So it's been a long time. I've been trying to think what I wanted to say when we finally got to this point. And it's just so much more to me than just like trying to get me in trouble. Over the last 5 years, I have worked so hard to get out of the things that I was doing that put me in prison. And for, going back and spending weeks looking at all the messages that went back and forth and how malicious it was. It wasn't I had one day and made one bad decision. She did this for weeks and weeks. I've read the messages. And for her to say the only thing he cares about is this job at the recovery center, and I want to take it from him. I worked so hard to get away from my background, to have a job where I could help people and make a difference and not be another statistic and not end up back in prison or on the streets. And to just think that someone that said they loved me could just say or even...
All right, guys, now we arrive at the payoff. The judge announces sentence, details credit and probation terms, then delivers a scathing rebuke, calling the conduct vile, describing attempts to frame and ruin a man, and noting the lucky integrity of the jail correspondent who came forward. This clip is the verdict moment. Clear punishment plus the moral judgment that will drive thumbnails and discussion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.